Right now I'm going to show you how to nature journal in the cloud forest part 2. So as you can see, it's in a cloud. We're in a cloud right now, and it is the afternoon. Earlier this morning it was sunny. Now it's cloudy and sort of just drizzling. So I'm going to show you how to nature journal in these conditions. One option, and it's not cheating, is to get under a tree. A lot of times the precipitation that's happening in a cloud forest, especially right now, it's technically the dry season, so a lot of times the precipitation that is happening is blocked by, look at the foliage up here and all the epiphytes and mosses, so you can get under something like this and stay pretty dry. Oh, check this out. Okay, so luckily I'm also right next to this flower that the hummingbirds like. So there's a good chance the hummingbirds will come right up here. Did you see that? Okay, this is a great place to nature journal. Lots of hummingbirds right here. And there's a cool plant, so when the birds aren't there, I can draw the plant. Oh shit. Okay, so I barely saw it, but I'm pretty sure that I saw the species of quetzal that there is here. I got in some quick sketches, barely could see it. Solid green head with a black eye, looking through a hole in the leaves. Super exciting. I saw a flash of red from the chest, and then it was turned away from me for a little bit, and I saw the back that had sort of like a phthalo blue and green, saturated green color. Then two of them flew out that way, very quietly actually, and went into the trees further down there. So couldn't get that good of a sight of them, but still really exciting just being out here, focusing on a plant and knowing that the birds are gonna happen around me. Couple drops of water are falling on the page still, so you've got to be careful and just know there's a chance that a huge drop of water is going to fall and ruin some of your watercolor or ink. That's why it's good to have a fault tolerant style and not be too worried about messing up your page. Otherwise, I do have my waterproof sketchbook here that I can switch to if necessary. Another good trick is to always hold your sketchbook as vertical as possible, providing less profile to be hit by water droplets. So on that quetzal, I really want to remember the colors. And there's not like too much happening that I need to record right now. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get my watercolors in the field. Since it is 100% humidity, I have to be prepared that my watercolor is not going to dry very quickly. So that's just a reality. And so, for example, using a water brush that lets out water more slowly is a better bet. Or a small water brush and using almost like a dry brush technique. Okay, so look at these watercolor sketches that I basically used to try to capture the color and actually represent what I saw. So I'm not drawing a profile. I'm not trying to make up a profile, or a portrait, I should say, of this Quetzal. I'm not trying to make a portrait because I don't have the information to make a portrait. More importantly, and more interestingly, and more honestly, I'm just doing a sketch of what I actually saw. And it might not look like a beautiful picture or whatever, but that's what nature journaling is, and it has a cumulative effect. Whoa, there's a hummingbird here that I don't. Ecuador, by the way, has half of the world's hummingbird species. I think I've seen 20 hummingbird species on this trip. No hummingbirds in Galapagos. So I'm going to blow on that page and keep it kind of upright. Put my watercolors away. Wow, I can't believe I saw that Quetzal. That's super cool. I have to double check when I get back and look at the book. It's possible. Oh, I know. Maybe I could try a callback. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Great idea. Okay, I feel slightly naughty. This is definitely something I don't want to do very often, but a callback could potentially get those Quetzals to come back this direction. So I'm going to open up my Marilynn app. As I mentioned before, there's aspects of this that you can download onto your phone and use when you're offline. So right now I'm going to look up golden-headed Quetzal. Yep, look at the side of that face there. That black eye surrounded by that forest green. That is exactly what I saw. Wow. Look at that. Pyrrole red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. Check this out. This is some like perfect cloud forest scenery. Check out this out. It's such a great cloud forest scene right now. Alright, so the secret technique, as you know, is to just nature journal a plant or a tree or a landscape until the birds come. So I'm not going to have any high expectations. Those birds are just going to immediately come to the sound of the playback. I'm going to pretend like I don't care. Crap. I'm going to pretend like I don't care. And I'm going to just draw You can just draw this plant right here and try to keep my watercolor dry. So here's the danger right here. You can see some water droplets have landed on my watercolor from earlier and are making it run. So this is basically the limit of what I would test, use my regular sketchbook in. I have, in a drizzle about this heavy, used my Fude de Monin pen and done some sketching. But I think for watercolor and just basically for using regular paper in general, this is about as much precipitation as it can handle. It's good to know where that limit actually is, because a lot of times people look outside and we tend to think like, oh, it's raining, or it's really wet, I'm not going to even try. But just pushing the materials and seeing where they actually can't take it anymore is really good to know that limit. So I'm going to actually use a little bit of blotting right now before I close this page and pull out my waterproof journal. So I'm going to take a paper towel, not a particularly wet or clean paper towel, and I'm just going to make sure that this is on the part that has pigment as dry as possible. Look, that's not that messy considering the conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and close this journal, put it away, and take out my waterproof one, which means I'm going to have to switch. I don't have colored pencils. You can use colored pencils on this Write in the Rain paper, but I don't have colored pencils, and so I'm just going to use graphite. So it means I won't have any color, but I'll still be able to take notes and everything. So I'll show you my setup for that right now. Also, in case of an extreme emergency, I have a dry bag. Doesn't take up very much space, but this dry bag right here is big enough to fit my entire sketchbook and my watercolor kit. The two things that if I knew I was going to be stuck in a total downpour and I might get soaked, those are the two things that I'm going to try to keep dry. Okay, so here's my Write in the Rain sketchbook. As you can see, it has tooth marks on it from the time I used it in the Galapagos, and I nature journaled the three-legged iguana. That was pretty cool. And this Prismacolor ebony pencil. This is my favorite. There's a variety of waterproof drawing and writing tools that you're supposed to be able to use with these, but I find that look at the value range I can get with this ebony Prismacolor. So look at that for landscapes. And this is in a total drizzle. So I'm gonna sharpen my pencil and get started drawing. And now I'm not limited. I can get out into the rain a lot more. One thing that I like to do now with this waterproof paper is, since this is separate from my journal where sort of my main sort of like narrative trip is being kept, it's really important to have metadata so that you might have just like random stuff from rainy days in this sketchbook, or do it only on one side of the paper. Don't do double sides. That way, if needed, you can cut this out and stick it into your regular journal. That makes the narrative, like if you're on a trip to Ecuador and you nature journal in the rain 3 days and you nature journal on your regular paper 12 days, it's good to have a way to incorporate this into the rest of your story. Otherwise, you have all these separate journals and it gets a little weird, in my opinion. All right, I'm gonna go over here closer to where these are. Okay, so I got a couple pages of nature journaling in. I didn't get, a huge masterpiece. I did a little bit of work at home, or the place where I'm staying here in the Choco Andino with Marie-Pierre. And I did a little bit of in the field work. So nature journaling in the cloud forest, version 1 and version 2. Look at it right now. I mean, it's pretty epic. They've seen spectacled bears here, and I think there's like one monkey species here, not huge on mammals. Lots of birds, and pretty cool ecosystem overall. Threatened by mining, threatened by some hydroelectric dam plans, and threatened by cattle ranching in some places. This is a cattle ranch here, and on the ridges they have pastures, and off of the ridges where it's really steep is still cloud forest. A lot of the area is extremely steep. Even the pastures are steep. There's like no flat spots. Pretty intense amount of precipitation. This is the dry season right now, and lots of botanical diversity. I saw some salvias that I know from the nursery trade growing here wild. Tons of bromeliads, moss, orchids growing on everything. I mean, look at these. These are the posts. Look at this orchid growing right here. Mosses on everything. That's a cedro. This is an higueron. They're looking into, look at those bromeliads. I mean, classic. They're looking into creating a list of tree species that are best for wildlife here and using them as part of the fences. Living fences it's a traditional thing in a lot of places in the tropics, and Choco is no exception. It can be a little bit more work sometimes, but they last longer. And so it's pretty cool, some of the projects they're doing at this particular ranch for conservation and potentially for some bird tourism in the future. So it's fun to collaborate with people that have ideas for things like that, want to try new things. And I think that if you came up with some good strategies for best practices for cattle ranches in the Choco Andino, that could have a huge impact on saving some of the biodiversity here. All right, that's it for nature journaling in the cloud forest with a little bit of extra information thrown in. If you can't wait all the way until next week for the next episode of the show, check out these videos here. Bye.